close your eyes. The day is done. Whatever it gave you, whatever it took, it's done now. And the night is not asking you to process it, or fix it, or figure out what tomorrow looks like. The night is asking something much simpler. Come home, not to a place, to yourself, to the part of you that existed before the day got its hands on you, before the noise, before the demands, before you became the person who handles things. Just you, here, breathing. There is a bedtime Bible story I want to tell you tonight. Jesus told it once to a crowd on a hillside. He has been telling it through people like me to people like you ever since. Not because it's dramatic, though it is. Not because it's long. It isn't. Because it finds you wherever you are tonight. Whether you feel like someone who has wandered far from where you should be, or someone who has been faithfully staying and quietly resenting it, or someone who is simply exhausted and doesn't have a category for what they feel, this story is for you. It begins with a son who left, and it ends with a father who ran. And between those two moments, the leaving and the running, there is everything. Everything that matters about being human, about failing, about the distance between who we are and who we wanted to be, and about what happens when we finally turn around and start walking home. You don't have to be ready for this story. You don't have to be in the right frame of mind. Simply be here. Let your breath slow. Let the room be what it is. And listen. The Father is already watching the road, and the story is already beginning. There was a man who had 2 sons. This is how it begins. Simple. No names. No elaborate backstory. Just a man, 2 sons, a family. The younger son came to his father and said, "Father, give me the share of property that is coming to me. Give me what will be mine when you die. Give it to me now. Let me take it and go." This request was, in the culture of that time, essentially equivalent to saying, "You are already dead to me. I don't want to wait for your inheritance. I don't want to be here. I want what is mine, and I want to leave." It was a profound dishonoring, and the father, in the most quiet, mysterious moment of the whole parable, divided his property between them. He gave it. He didn't argue. didn't lecture, didn't threaten, didn't manipulate, didn't make the son feel the weight of what he was asking. He gave it, and the younger son gathered everything he had and left. He went to a far country. A far country. The phrase carries more than geography. It carries the particular kind of distance that happens when you run from something. Not just physical miles between you and what you left, but a deliberate, chosen turning away. A putting of as much space as possible between yourself and what you came from. Between yourself and the face of the Father you had just essentially told, you mean nothing to me except what you can give. A far country. Have you ever been there? Not necessarily in the dramatic way of this story, but in the quieter versions, the drifting, the gradual accumulation of distance between yourself and something that mattered, the slow turning away from something good that you stopped valuing until it was far behind you. Most of us have a far country. Most of us know what it is to have put something good at a distance. The far country is real, and the road back from it, which is what this story is actually about, is real too. Stay with the story. The road back is where the heart of it lives. He squandered his property in reckless living. The text doesn't linger on the details. It doesn't need to. We know what reckless living means, the living that feels like freedom while you're in it, and only reveals itself as a different kind of bondage when the resources run out. And they did run out. They always run out. When he had spent everything, a severe famine arose in that country. A famine. The same word the story of Ruth uses. The same word that drove Naomi and Elimelech to Moab. The specific, grinding difficulty of not having enough. Of looking at what is around you and finding it insufficient. Of the panic that arrives when the thing you were depending on, the money, the resources, the life you had built, reveals that it cannot hold you. And he began to be in need. He went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him into his fields to feed pigs. Pigs. For a Jewish audience, which was Jesus' audience, this detail carried enormous weight. Pigs were unclean animals. Feeding them was among the most degrading occupations imaginable. This was not a minor embarrassment. This was the full, complete, rock-bottom humiliation of someone who had started with an inheritance and arrived at feeding pigs in a foreign country. And he was longing to be fed with the pods that the pigs ate. And no one gave him anything. No one. All the people he had spent his resources on, in the far country, in the reckless living, none of them were there now. The resources had kept the company, and when the resources ended, so did the company. He was alone with the pigs in the far country at rock bottom. This moment, the far country, the famine, the pigs, the alone, is the moment the story pivots. Because it is at rock bottom that he came to himself. That phrase, he came to himself, as though he had been away from himself for a long time, as though the leaving and the reckless living and the losing had taken him somewhere outside himself, outside his own center, his own truth, his own knowledge of who he was and where he came from. And in the pigsty, he came back. He remembered. How many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread, but I perish here with hunger? He remembered what home was like. Not just the abundance, not just the practical sufficiency. He remembered his father's house as a place where even the servants had enough, where the table was generous, where the standard was not bare minimum but more than enough. He remembered, and then he did something brave. He decided to go back. I will arise and go to my father. Tonight, wherever you are, whatever far country you have been in, whatever rock bottom has brought you to this moment, let those words be available to you. I will arise and go. The arising is the bravest part, not the arrival, not the speech he was already rehearsing in his head. Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants. Not even the walking, the arising, the turning of the face toward home. That is the bravest thing. Tonight, in this bed, in this room, in this dark, there may be something you need to turn toward. Something you have been putting at a distance. Some far country you are ready to leave. The arising doesn't have to happen all at once. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as this, a turning of the face toward home, toward what is real, toward the Father who has been watching the road. Arise and go. The rest, the speech, the walking, the arriving will follow. It always follows the arising. He arose and came to his Father. 5 words that contain an entire journey. We don't know how far the far country was. We don't know how long he walked. We don't know if it was summer or winter, if the road was easy or hard, if he had shoes for it or was walking barefoot from the pigsty. We only know that he arose and came. The journey between the arising and the arrival is compressed in the text the way all long journeys get compressed in the telling. But the living of it was not compressed. The living of it was the daily putting of one foot in front of the other in the direction of home, with the rehearsed speech running through his head. Father, I have sinned. I am no longer worthy. Make me a servant," and the uncertainty running alongside it. Would his father receive him? Would the door be open? Would there be a place for him anymore after everything he'd done, after what he'd said with his early request for the inheritance? "You are already dead to me," after the squandering of what had been carefully tended? He didn't know. He couldn't know. He could only walk and hope and rehearse the speech and keep going. This is what the return from the far country feels like from the inside. Not triumphant, not clean, not certain of the welcome. Walking anyway, with the shame still present, with the uncertainty still present, with the memory of all the ways you went wrong still very much alive and accessible. Walking anyway, toward home, toward the face you hurt, toward the place you left. Walking. This is the bravest thing, and you may be doing some version of it right now. Walking back from somewhere, with the rehearsed speech and the uncertainty and the shame still present. Walking anyway. Keep walking. The road has an end, and the end is better than you expect. So much better. Keep walking. But while he was still a great way off, his father saw him. This is the center of the whole story. Not the leaving, not the pigsty, not the speech the son had rehearsed, or even the speech he would give. This, while he was still a great way off, still far, still on the road, still covered in whatever the pigsty had left on him, still a long way from having arrived, from having explained himself, from having made any kind of amends or demonstrated any kind of change. Still far. His father saw him. This tells us something. The father was watching. Not just that he happened to be near a window when the son appeared on the road. Not a coincidence of timing that allowed him to catch a glimpse. He was watching. He had been watching. The watching was ongoing, day after day, the father's eyes going to the road that his son had walked away on, looking for the shape of someone he would recognize even at a great distance, even covered in pigsty, even thin from famine, even walking with the particular gait of someone who is not sure they will be welcomed. Even then, the father recognized him and was filled with compassion and ran. He ran. Fathers in the ancient Middle East did not run. It was undignified. Men of status and standing did not hike up their robes and run down a road to meet someone. It was not done. He ran. The dignity of position was set aside in an instant. The what will people think was set aside. The "you should come to me and earn your welcome" was set aside. He ran to his son, who was still a great way off, who had not yet arrived, who had not yet given the speech, who had not yet proven anything. While he was still a great way off, the father ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. This is the most extraordinary moment in all of Scripture. Not the parting of the sea, not the burning bush, not the empty tomb, though all of those are extraordinary. This, a father running to a son who doesn't deserve it, kissing him before he can speak, covering him before he has explained himself, receiving him before he has proven his change. This is what God is like. This is what the parable is actually about. Not the son's journey, though that journey is real and it matters. The Father's running, God running towards you while you are still a great way off, before you have arrived, before you have gotten the speech right, before you have proven that you've changed, while you are still on the road. The Father sees you and runs. Tonight, wherever you are on the road, whatever far country you are returning from, whatever the pigsty has left on you, hear this. He sees you. He has been watching the road. He recognizes you, even from a great way off. And he is not standing with arms crossed, waiting for your explanation. He is running. He has already started running. Let that reach you tonight. Into the places that are still carrying the shame of a far country. Into the parts of you that have been wondering if the welcome is real. Into the exhausted, road-worn, not sure of the reception part of you that is still walking. He is running. The welcome is real. The arms are open, and you are seen from a great way off. Come home. You are seen. Come home. Sleep in that. Let it be the ground you rest on tonight. The Father is running, and you are seen. He fell on his neck and kissed him. Before the speech, before the explanation, before any evidence of change, the Son began his rehearsed words, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." And the Father interrupted him, not with words of his own exactly, with action. He called to the servants, "Bring quickly the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. And bring the fattened calf and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." The best robe, not a robe. The best robe, In a wealthy household, the best robe would have been the finest garment, reserved for occasions of honor, brought out for the most important moments. And it was put on the son who had just come from a pigsty, without washing him first, without making him earn the robe, without waiting to see whether he would keep his word this time. The best robe on the returning son. Immediately, the ring, a signet ring, a symbol of authority, of belonging to the family, of being a son rather than a servant. The ring said, "You are mine. You belong here. This is your family." The shoes. Servants didn't wear shoes. Sons did. The shoe said, "You are not a servant here. You are a son." Whatever you thought you had forfeited, whatever you rehearsed on the road about treating me as a hired servant, that is not what is happening here. You are not a servant. You are a son. And then the fattened calf. The fattened calf was kept for the most significant occasions. It was not everyday food. It was the food of celebration, the meal that said something extraordinary has happened here, something worth marking, something worth gathering for. And the father said, "Let us eat and celebrate. Not let us wait and see. Not let us be cautious. Not let us give it some time and see if he has really changed. Let us celebrate now." Because the reason for the celebration was not the son's change of character. It was the son's return. He was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. Those phrases are not about moral improvement. They are about presence. He is here. He was gone and now he is here. And that is enough. That is the whole reason for the robe and the ring and the shoes and the fattened calf and the music and the dancing. Not because he deserved it, because he came back. And the Father had been watching the road. Tonight, if there is any part of you that has been wondering whether you have to earn the welcome, this is for you. You don't. The robe is already in the Father's hands. The ring is ready. The table is being set. Not because you have proven yourself, because you came back, because you are here, because the one who was watching the road recognized you and ran and received you before you could finish your speech. Let the robe be put on you tonight. The best robe. Not the servant's clothing you were ready to settle for. The best robe. Because you are a son. Because you are a daughter. Because you belong here. Welcome home. Let the welcome be received without arguing with it, without deciding you don't deserve it, without insisting on the servant status instead. Simply receive it. the robe, the ring, the shoes, the table, the celebration, yours. Sleep in the welcome, all the way. And they began to celebrate. Music and dancing, the whole household. This is what a homecoming looks like when the father has been watching the road. Not a quiet, reserved, let's wait and see reception. A celebration. Noise and music and the particular joy that comes from something that was lost being found. Something that was gone being returned. This is one of the things about God that is easy to miss when you approach Him through the lens of what you deserve. He is not a quiet God. He is not a God who observes your return with arms folded, nodding slightly, satisfied but contained. He celebrates. He calls for music. He kills the fattened calf. He throws a party. Because this is what the return of someone loved produces in a father who loves. Not measured, dignified approval. Joy. The kind of joy that wants to make noise. That wants to gather people and tell them, he was dead and is alive again. She was lost and is found. That wants to dance. You are worth that kind of joy. Not because of what you've done, because of whose you are. Because the Father has been watching the road for you. Because the robe was kept ready. Because the moment you were seen on the horizon, still far off, still road-worn, still carrying the shame of wherever you've been, the celebration started. Music, dancing, the fattened calf. For you, tonight, let that be received. Not intellectually, in the body, in the places that have been carrying the weight of being unwelcome. The celebration is real. You are worth it, not because you earned it, because the Father has been watching the road, and you are home, and you are home, and you are home. Let that settle. 3 times. You are home. Sleep in that. The music is still playing. Let it carry you into the rest, into the deep, into the genuine, restoring sleep of someone who has arrived somewhere safe. Someone who is home. You are home. Now the older son. Because the story doesn't end with the celebration. There was an older son. He was in the field when his younger brother returned. He was doing what he had always done, working faithfully, day after day, not leaving, not asking for his inheritance, not going to a far country, staying. And when he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And the servant said, "Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf, because he has received him back safe and sound." And the older son was angry and refused to go in. The father came out and entreated him. And the older son answered, "Look, these many years I have served you, and I never disobeyed your command, yet you never gave me a young goat that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fattened calf for him." This son of yours, he couldn't say, "My brother." The distance that resentment creates, how it renames even the people who belong to you. This son of yours. There is real pain in the older son's words. Real pain and real confusion and a real sense of injustice that is not entirely wrong. He had stayed. He had served. He had been faithful. And he had never gotten a party. It isn't fair. And the father, who had just celebrated the return of one son, went out to the other one. This is easy to miss. The father went out to both of them. He ran to the younger son on the road. He came out to the older son in the field. He pursued both. He left no one outside the celebration by choice. The older son chose to stay outside. The father came out to entreat him. "Son, you are always with me." "Son, not, you ungrateful child. Not, after everything I've done. Not, look at what you're doing." "Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours." The older son had been in the father's house the whole time. He had access to everything the father had. The robe, the ring, the shoes, these were never withheld from him. He simply never needed them returned to him because he had never left. But he had missed something. He had been serving rather than sonning. He had been working in the field rather than resting in the relationship. He had been keeping careful track of what was owed and what was given and what was fair. And in all that careful tracking, he had missed the one thing that was offered freely without tracking. The Father's presence. Always. You are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. If you are the older son tonight, the one who stayed, who served, who has sometimes looked at those who left and came back and wondered why the welcome seems larger for them than for you, hear this. You are always with him. All that is his is yours. The celebration was not about deserving. It was about the one who was lost being found. And you, who have been with him all along, are not less loved. You are the constant presence. The one whose belonging is so secure it doesn't require a dramatic restoration. But if you have been keeping score, if the careful tracking has closed something in you, If you have been standing outside this celebration choosing not to go in, the Father has come out. He is here, in the field, entreating, Son, come in. The music is playing for you too. It always was. The Father ran. Let me stay with that image a little longer, because the running of the Father is the most specific, most detailed, most carefully rendered part of the whole parable. Jesus could have said, the Father went out to meet him. That would have been enough. That would have communicated the welcome. But he said he ran. He saw him. He had compassion. He ran. He fell on his neck. He kissed him. 5 actions in rapid succession. Saw. Had compassion. Ran. Fell. Kissed. The speed of it. The urgency of it. The Father who had been waiting by the road, who had been watching for this exact moment, when the moment came, he didn't walk toward it. He ran. What does it mean that God runs toward us? Not that he's surprised by our return and hastens to catch up. He is never surprised. But that when the moment comes, when the face appears on the horizon, when the prodigal turns toward home, there is an urgency in the welcome that running communicates. Not waiting. Running. Come home faster. Let me get to you sooner. Let me cover you before you have taken one more step in the shame. Let me get the robe on you before you have explained yourself one more time. Run. Come home faster. Tonight, whatever road you are on, whatever the journey back looks like, the Father is not standing still, arms folded, waiting for you to arrive. He is running toward you. Right now. In this room. In this darkness. While you lie here. He is moving toward you. Not because you have arrived. Because he saw you. And having seen you, he runs. That urgency. That speed. That desire to get to you sooner. That is what God feels about you. Not a warm, measured, appropriate welcome. Running. Let that in. Into whatever part of you has been expecting a measured response. Into whatever part of you has been bracing for the arms-crossed version of God. He runs. And he has been running toward you since before you turned around. Sleep in that. The running is real. And he's close. And the arms are open. And the robe is in his hands. What the robe means. The best robe. In the ancient world, clothing meant something more than it means today. Not just covering. Identity. Status. belonging. What you wore told the world who you were and where you fit in the order of things. The son who came back from the pigsty was wearing the evidence of where he had been. Whatever he had on, whatever remained of the clothes he had left with, degraded by the far country and the famine and the pigs, told a story. A story of loss, of poor choices, of the far country, and the Father covered it before anyone else could see it fully, before the Son had a chance to explain it, before anything, the best robe thrown over the evidence, not to pretend the story hadn't happened. The Son knew it had happened. The Father knew it had happened. But the robe said, "That is not what defines you here. That is not how we see you. What you wore when you came is being covered. What you wear now is what matters. And what you wear now is the best robe, the one kept for the most honored guest, the one that says you are most honored here, not despite where you've been, but as you are, right now, just arrived, in whatever state you arrived in, the best robe. Tonight, whatever you are wearing from the day, the evidence of where you've been, the weariness, the decisions that didn't go well, the conversations you wish you'd handled differently, the accumulation of far country choices, small or large, that have left their mark. The robe is being put on you, not after you have explained it all, before you can explain it all. The best robe, the identity of beloved child, the covering that says, "This is who you are here." Not the pigsty, not the far country, not the famine. You are a son. You are a daughter. You are most honored here. Let the robe be put on, without arguing, without insisting on the servant status instead. The robe is being put on you, and it is the best one. Sleep in it, warm, covered, received, home. Somewhere between the far country and the homecoming, there was a road. The Son walked it, with the rehearsed speech, with the uncertainty, with the pigsty smell, probably, with the thin body of someone who had been through a famine, with feet that were not used to the distance, with a heart that oscillated between hope that the reception would be what he was hoping for and fear that it would be what he deserved. He walked, day after day, toward home, not knowing if the door would be open, not knowing if the Father's face would be warm or hard, not knowing if the rehearsed speech would be enough. Walking anyway. There is something in the walking itself that matters. Not the arriving, not the reception, the walking, the daily decision to keep going in the direction of home, to not stop on the road and say, I've come far enough. This is good enough. I'll make a life here between Moab and Bethlehem, between the pigsty and my Father's house. I don't have to go all the way. He went all the way. He didn't stop on the road. He walked until the house was visible, until the figure on the horizon that was running toward him was recognizable. He walked all the way. Tonight, if there is something you have been walking toward and the road is long and the uncertainty is real and the rehearsed speech is ready and you're not sure of the reception, keep walking. Don't stop on the road. The figure on the horizon is recognizable. He has already started running. The welcome is coming. Just keep walking. One step, and the next, and the next, all the way home, where the arms are open, and the best robe is ready, and the music has already started. Keep walking. You are almost there. Rest tonight, so you can walk tomorrow, and the day after, all the way home. The word compassion. When the Father saw his Son while he was still a great way off, the text says he was filled with compassion. The original Greek word is splagnosomai. It is one of the strongest words for compassion in the New Testament. It refers not to a gentle feeling of sympathy, but to a visceral, gut-level response. The word comes from the word for intestines, the ancient understanding being that deep emotion lives in the body, in the center of you, not just in the mind. The Father was not touched. He was moved in the deepest, most physical, most involuntary sense. The sight of his Son on the road produced in him a response he could not have controlled if he had tried, the overwhelming, gut-level surge of love that is bigger than dignity, bigger than what will people think, bigger than the reasonable, measured response that the situation might have called for. And so he ran. Because you can't stand still when splagnosomai hits. You run. This word is used only a handful of times in the Gospels. It is used when Jesus sees the crowd and is moved to feed them. It is used when Jesus touches the leper. It is used in the parable of the Good Samaritan, when the Samaritan sees the injured man. And it is used here. when the Father sees his Son. The same gut-level, involuntary, overwhelming compassion that moves Jesus when he sees human suffering. That is what the Father felt when he saw the returning Son. That is what God feels when he sees you. Not measured approval, not adequate satisfaction. The kind of feeling that makes you run. The kind that throws dignity to the side. The kind that says, nothing is more important right now than getting to you. Let that be real. Not as theology, as something that lands in the body. The gut-level compassion for you when you were still far off, when you hadn't proven anything, when you were still carrying whatever the far country had left on you. The Father was filled with it, and he ran. Sleep under that tonight. The compassion that runs, that doesn't wait for you to deserve it. That sees you on the horizon and is already moving, already running, already close. The pigsty. I want to stay in it for a moment, not to dwell on what's dark, but because the pigsty is where the turning happens. And the turning is worth understanding. He came to himself. That phrase again. In the pigsty, with the pigs, with the hunger, with the no one gave him anything, he came to himself. What does it mean to come to yourself? It means to stop being the version of you that the far country made. To stop being the person you became when you were running from something. To stop performing the identity the reckless living had given you, free, unbound, no obligations, living for now. And to recognize that that identity was a costume. Underneath the costume, the Son, the actual person, the one who had a father and a home and a place where the servants had more than enough bread. He came back to the truth of who he was. And who he was, despite everything, was still the Son. The far country hadn't changed that. The squandering hadn't changed that. The pigs hadn't changed that. He was still the Son. And in remembering that, in coming back to himself, the turning became possible. You are still the Son. You are still the daughter. Whatever far country you have visited, whatever you squandered, whatever the pigsty was in your particular story, the identity is not what the far country said you were. The identity is what the Father calls you when you come home. Son, daughter, beloved, most honored here. Come back to that tonight. In the quiet, in the dark. come to yourself, not the far country self, the real one, the one the Father is running toward. That one. Let me tell you something about the older son that is easy to miss. The parable ends without resolution for him. We don't find out if he went in. The father came out. He entreated him. He said, "Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours." It was fitting to celebrate and be glad, for this your brother was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. And then the story ends. We don't know if the older son went in. We don't know if he accepted the father's words, if the resentment released, if he eventually sat at the table with his brother, if the what will people think gave way to the joy that was available. Jesus left it open, because the older son's ending was not for Jesus to write. It was for whoever was listening. For you, if you are the older son. What will you do? Not in a pressured way, not with the weight of obligation, but in the gentlest possible way. The Father has come out. He is in the field with you. He is saying, "Son, you are always with me. Will you go in?" The music is playing. The celebration is real. Your brother was dead and is alive. Your sister was lost and is found. And the table that is always yours, that has always been yours, all that is mine is yours, that table has room. For you too, not instead of your brother, beside him. Will you go in? The parable leaves the question open. Tonight, in the dark, in the quiet, you can answer it. Not with words, with the decision to stop keeping score, to release the resentment, to accept the Father's words. Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. Let it be enough. Go in. The table is set. The celebration is real. Go in and sleep in the Father's house, fully at rest, as a son, as a daughter. This is where the whole parable has been heading. Not the far country, though the far country is real. Not the pigsty, though the pigsty is real. Not even the road, though the road is real and the walking matters. Home. The Father's house. The place where the music plays and the table is set and the best robe is hanging and the ring is ready and the servants know your name and the door is open. Home. Most of us have a complicated relationship with the word. Home means something different for everyone. For some, warmth, safety, the place where you are most yourself. For others, complicated, mixed, something that required work to make or that has yet to be found. But the home in this parable is not a place. It is a relationship. It is the Father. Home is wherever the Father is. And the Father, the one running down the road, the one who fell on the returning son's neck, the one who came out to the older son in the field, that Father is not confined to a building. That Father is here, in this room, in this dark, in this breath. Home is here, not somewhere you have to travel to, not somewhere you have to earn your way back to. Here, the Father is here, and where the Father is, that is home. You are home, right now, in this room, in this night, in the presence of the one who ran. Home. Let your body know it. Let the shoulders release with it. Let the jaw unclench with it. Let the hands open with it. Home. You are home. And the music is playing. And the table is set. And the robe is on. And the ring is on your hand. And the Father is here. And you are home. Sleep deeply, peacefully, at home. A prayer for tonight. Father, we come to you from various far countries. Some of us have been in dramatic ones, the full version of the son's story, with the inheritance and the squandering and the famine and the pigs. And some of us have been in quieter ones, the slow drifting, the gradual distance, the small daily choices that added up to a lot of space between us and where we wanted to be. But all of us are on the road. Some of us have been walking a long time. Some of us are just turning around. All of us are carrying something from where we've been. And all of us, every one of us, are still a great way off from everything we want to be, everything we could be, the full version of ourselves that you see when you look at us. We are still on the road, and you are running. Father, let the running be real tonight. Not as a metaphor we have to work to feel, as a reality that meets us where we are, in this room, in this dark, the running God, the one who doesn't wait for us to arrive before he starts celebrating, who sees us on the horizon and is already filled with compassion, already moving, already planning the robe and the ring and the fattened calf. Let that reach us tonight. Into the shame that has been making us rehearse speeches. Into the older son resentment that has been keeping us outside the celebration. Into the weariness of the road and the uncertainty of the reception and the not knowing if the door will be open. Let the running reach all of it. And let us hear, son, daughter, come in. You are always with me. All that is mine is yours. He was dead and is alive. She was lost and is found. Come in. The music is playing. The table is set. The best robe is on. And you are home. Let that be received by every person lying in the dark tonight who needed to hear it. By the ones who know exactly why this story is for them. By the ones who don't know yet but will, as they drift toward sleep, feel something settle in them that needed to settle. Amen. Sleep now. The prayer is heard. You are home. And the music is still playing. Good night. The body is very heavy now. Not with burden. With rest. The heaviness of a body that has finally stopped performing. That has put down the rehearsed speech. That has received instead of explaining, instead of earning, instead of proving. Simply received the robe, the ring, the welcome, the weight of those gifts, not burdensome but substantial, real, something that settles into you. You are known. You are covered. You are home. Let the body be heavy with that tonight. The shoulders dropping with it. The arms heavy with it. The hands open, no longer gripping, resting in it. The chest rising and falling, the breath of someone who is finally, genuinely at rest. Not the rest of the road. Not the rest of the pigsty. The rest of the Father's house, where the servants have more than enough, where the music plays, where the celebration is real, where you are welcomed before you have explained yourself, where the best robe was kept for you, where the ring says you belong here, where the shoes say you are a son, a daughter, not a servant, where the Father has been watching the road and has already seen you and is already running. Rest in the Father's house tonight, all the way into the deep and genuine rest of someone who is home, who has been received, who is wearing the best robe, who is home. Sleep. The music is still playing somewhere in the house. Let it carry you. into the deep, into the rest, into the sleep that restores and rebuilds and returns you to yourself. The self that the Father sees when he looks at you, the beloved child, the most honored guest, the one worth running for. One last walk through the story, the slowest one, for the final crossing into sleep. A man, 2 sons. The younger one, give me what is mine. The dividing of the property, the leaving, the far country, the reckless living, the famine, the pigs, that no one gave him anything, the coming to himself. I will arise and go to my Father. The arising, the road, the rehearsed speech, the walking, one step, and the next, and the next, still a great way off. The Father, watching the road, seeing, compassion, running, falling on his neck, kissing him. The Son beginning his speech, Father, I have sinned. The Father calling to the servants, bring the robe, the ring, the shoes, kill the fattened calf. Let us celebrate. He was dead. He is alive. He was lost. He is found. The music beginning. The dancing. The older son in the field. Hearing the music. Confused. Angry. The Father coming out. Son, you are always with me. All that is mine is yours. Come in. The table. The celebration. The best robe. The ring. The shoes. The music. And home. The Father's house, where everyone who comes is received, where the best robe is always ready, where the ring says you belong, where the table is always set, where the music is always playing, where the door is always open, where the Father is always watching the road, and always running, and always falling on necks and kissing and calling for the celebration. For you, tonight, in this room, in this dark, he is running. He has already seen you. You are still a great way off from everything you want to be. And he's already running. The robe is in his hands. The ring is ready. The music has started. You are home. Sleep all the way into the deep, into the genuine rest, into the Father's house, where the servants have more than enough, and the door is always open, and you are always seen from a great way off. Good night, dear friend. Good night. You are home. Sleep. Good night. Let me tell you about the far country. Not this son's far country specifically. The far country in general. Everyone has one. The far country is not always dramatic. It is not always the full production, the inheritance, the squandering, the famine, the pigs. Most people's far countries are quieter than that, more gradual. The slow drift that happens when life gets busy and the things that matter most get pushed to the edges of the days. The far country of distraction. The far country of self-sufficiency. The one where you stopped needing anyone because needing felt too vulnerable, and the not needing was its own kind of exile. The far country of bitterness, where a wound that wasn't treated grew until it took up more space than it deserved, until it shaped the whole landscape of how you saw things. The far country of shame, where something you did or something done to you created a distance between you and the feeling of being at home in yourself and in the world. The far country of grief, where the loss was so large that the world before it became a different country, and the world after became a place you barely recognized. Everyone has traveled. Everyone is, in some way, somewhere between the far country and home. Some people are still in the far country. Some are on the road. Some have arrived but haven't fully let themselves believe the welcome yet. They are in the Father's house but still wearing their road clothes in their heart, still rehearsing the speech, still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Wherever you are in this journey, the Father is watching the road. The distance between you and Him is not an obstacle to His seeing you. He sees you from a great way off. He has always seen you. From the moment you turned toward home, before you had taken the first step, He was already filling with compassion, already moving, already running. You are seen wherever you are, however far the far country, however long the road. You are seen, and He is running. Come home, one step at a time. And tonight, the step is rest. Rest is the direction for tonight. Close your eyes and come home. The fattened calf. This detail is easy to overlook but worth sitting with. A fattened calf was not a casual thing in the ancient world. You didn't slaughter a fattened calf on an ordinary Tuesday. You raised it, kept it specifically, fed it more than the other animals, tended it with particular care, for a specific occasion. The fattened calf was the resource kept in reserve for something that warranted it. A wedding. A great feast. The arrival of an important guest. It took time to raise. It took intention. It took the ongoing decision every day to keep feeding this animal in preparation for a day that hadn't arrived yet. The father had been raising it. He didn't know when the day would come. He didn't know what it would be for. But some part of him, the part that kept watching the road, the part that couldn't quite give up on the possibility of return, kept the calf fattened. Just in case. Just in case the day came. And when the day came, when the figure appeared on the horizon, when the running happened, when the sun was received, the calf was ready. The preparation had been ongoing. The father had been preparing for this day before this day arrived. This is what God's provision looks like sometimes. Not something assembled in haste when you finally arrive at the end of the road. Something that was being prepared long before you turned around. Long before you decided to come home. Long before you even recognized you were in the far country. The preparation was ongoing. The fattened calf was being raised. For you. Whatever you are walking toward, whatever the arrival looks like in your story, whatever the far shore is, whatever the restoration is, it is being prepared. Before you get there, before you can see it, the preparation is already underway. The fattened calf is being raised. And when you arrive, the table will be ready. And the celebration will be real. And the music will be playing. Not because you arrived in time, but because the preparation was ongoing. It was always ongoing. Rest in that tonight. The preparation is real. For you. Already underway. Sleep. And let it continue. While you rest. There is a particular quality to coming home after a long absence. You notice things you didn't notice when you lived there. The specific way the light falls in the late afternoon. The smell of the place. Every place has a smell. A combination of materials and air and the particular human lives lived inside it. The sounds, the creak of a familiar floor, the way voices carry in certain rooms, the sound of the kitchen, the particular quality of the quiet when everyone has gone to sleep. The returning son would have noticed these things as he came up the road. If there was a specific tree he remembered, a stone wall, the shape of the house against the sky, things that had lived in his memory all the time in the far country, surfacing sometimes without warning, catching him off guard, now becoming real again. Not just memories. Here, real, in front of him. There is something about the return to what is familiar that can only be felt from the position of having been away. You can't appreciate home the same way if you've never left it. Not more deeply, differently, with a particular quality of gratitude that the person who never left cannot access. The returning son saw his father's house with eyes that had seen the far country, and it was more beautiful than he remembered, and he was more grateful than he had ever been when he lived there. The experience of the far country had not taken something from him. In the deepest sense, it had given him the capacity to receive home in a way he couldn't have before. This is not to romanticize suffering. The famine was real. The pigsty was real. That no one gave him anything was real. But the far country made the homecoming possible in the fullest sense. The son who never left could not have run toward the father the way the returning son did. The returning son knew in his body, in his gut, in the deepest part of his experience, what it had cost and what it meant to be received. Whatever far country has been part of your story, whatever has taken you away and brought you back, has given you a capacity for gratitude that could not have come any other way. The gratitude of the returning, the gratitude of the received, the gratitude of the one who knows what it cost and can look at the robe and the ring and the celebration and say, with their whole body, not just their mind, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let that gratitude be here tonight, not forced, not performed, the real kind, the kind that knows the far country and receives the homecoming. Thank you, and sleep in the gratitude, in the Father's house, held, received, home, the music. The older son heard it before he saw anything. Music and dancing from inside the house. He didn't know what it was for. He had to ask a servant, but he heard it. The music of celebration, the music of a homecoming, the particular music that starts when something that was lost is found, when someone who was dead is alive again. Music has always been the human response to the deepest things, to joy that is too large for words alone, to gratitude that needs a body, needs hands clapping, feet moving, voices raised, to express itself fully. The Father's house had music playing, and tonight, in some sense, in some register that may be quieter than drums and louder than silence, there is music playing for you. Not because you have earned it, because you are here, because you are alive, because you turn toward home in whatever way you have turned, however small the turning, and the Father saw it, and was filled with compassion, and is running, and the celebration has already started. Music, let it reach you in the quiet of this room, not as sound, as the quality of being welcomed, the feeling of celebration aimed at you, the joy of the Father, the gut level, running, falling on neck, kissing joy, turned toward you, for you, because you are home, because you are alive, because you were lost and now are found. The music is playing. Let it carry you into the deep, into the rest, into the sleep of someone who has arrived somewhere good, who has been received, who is wearing the best robe, who is home. Let the music carry you all the way. Good night. The body scan. Before sleep takes you all the way. One final moving through the body. Slowly. From the top. The head. Release anything that's still there. The plans, the worries, the thoughts that keep presenting themselves as urgent when what the night is actually asking is rest. Let the crown of the head be soft, the forehead smooth, the eyes resting, not pressing, the jaw open, the teeth apart, the tongue resting, the shoulders, drop them all the way, the arms, heavy, warm, belonging to the bed, the hands, open, empty, the hands of someone who is not rehearsing the speech anymore, who is not explaining themselves, who has received the robe and rests in the receiving, the chest, rising, falling, the breath of someone who is home, the belly, soft, moving freely, no longer held in, the back, released, held by what is beneath it, the legs, heavy, long going nowhere, the feet resting, done carrying the road, your whole body, from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, at rest in the Father's house, where the servants have more than enough, where the music plays, where the robe is on and the ring is on your hand and the shoes say you belong here, where the table is set, where the door is always open, where the Father is always watching the road. You are home. Let the body know it. Let it rest in it. All the way into the deep, into the genuine, restoring, rebuilding sleep. Good night. You are home. Sleep. He was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. These phrases, the Father's explanation for the celebration, are among the most striking in all of Jesus' teaching. Dead and alive, lost and found, not improved, not reformed, not better than before, alive, found. The movement from far country to homecoming is not, in the Father's language, a moral improvement story. It is a resurrection story, a finding story. Something that was dead is alive. Something that was lost is found. These are not gradual things. You don't gradually become alive after being dead. You are dead and then you are alive. You are lost and then you are found. The turning is complete. The return is complete. The reception is complete. Not contingent on further proof. Not partial, pending good behavior. Complete. You are found. You are alive. The celebration is not a celebration of your potential. It is a celebration of your presence. You are here. And that is the whole reason for the music and the dancing and the fattened calf and the robe and the ring and the shoes. You are here. You came back. You are alive. Tonight, receive that. Not as aspiration, not as something to work toward, as the present reality. You are here. You came back. You are alive. And the celebration is real. And the Father is here. And you are home. Sleep in that. All the way. Deep. Peaceful. In the Father's house. Where you have always belonged. Where you were always known. Where the best robe was always kept for you. And the door was always open. and the road was always watched. Good night, dear friend. Good night. He was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. You are home. Sleep. Good night. Something about shame. Because the Prodigal Son story is really a shame story as much as anything else. The son rehearsed his speech on the road not just out of strategy, out of shame. He knew what he had done. He knew what he had said when he asked for the inheritance, effectively, "I wish you were dead." He knew how he had spent it. He knew the pigs. He knew the famine. He knew that no one gave him anything. And he was walking toward the face of the person he had most wronged, carrying all of it. The shame of the far country doesn't lift just because you decide to come home. It walks with you on the road. It shows up in the rehearsed speech, the careful working out of what to say, how to position it, what to ask for and what not to ask for. The shame is in the decision to ask for the servant status rather than the son's. "I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants." He had preemptively downgraded himself before the father had said anything, because shame does that. It decides in advance what the reception will be. It assumes the worst. It negotiates for the minimum because it doesn't believe it deserves more. And the father ran past all of it. Didn't give the speech time to happen. Didn't let the shame have the last word. Interrupted the rehearsed self-downgrading with the best robe. Interrupted the "I am not worthy" with the ring that said you belong here. Interrupted the "treat me as a servant" with the shoes that said you are a son. The father ran past the shame, not past the person, past the shame, toward the person. Tonight, whatever shame is in this room with you, the Father is running past it, not dismissing it, not pretending it isn't real, running past it, towards you, and putting on you the thing that shame says you don't deserve. The best robe, the ring, the shoes, the welcome. Let the shame step back tonight. Let the Father's running reach you, past the rehearsed speech, past the self-downgrading, past the "I am not worthy," past all of it. To you, simply you, seen, received, home, sleep. The Father in this parable does something very specific that is worth naming. He does not make the Son's return conditional on the speech. He does not say, "Come inside after you've explained yourself. Come to the table once I understand what happened. Let us sit down and discuss this rationally, and if I'm satisfied with your explanation and your sincerity, we can talk about what comes next." He does not do any of that. He runs. He receives. He celebrates. And then, somewhere in the midst of the celebration, while the son is wearing the robe and eating the fattened calf, the son gives his speech anyway. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." And the celebration continues, because the speech was never the condition. The return was the condition. The speech came from a genuine heart, the son's willingness to name what he had done, to take responsibility, to not make excuses. That matters. That is real. But it was not what opened the door. The door was already open. The Father was already running. The robe was already in his hands. The speech came after, inside the celebration, not as the price of admission, as the honest response of a person who has been received more generously than they expected. This is the shape of repentance in the Father's house, not the thing that earns the welcome. The thing that happens inside the welcome, the honest naming that occurs when you are safe enough to be honest. Because the welcome came first. The safety came first. The robe came first. And in the safety of being received fully, unconditionally, before the speech was finished, the honest naming became possible in a way it couldn't have been outside the welcome. Tonight, you are inside the welcome. Before the speech is finished, before the naming is complete, before the explanation is fully formed, you are already inside. The robe is already on. The ring is already on your hand. The table is already set. And whatever honest naming needs to happen, whatever speech needs to be spoken, can be spoken here. In safety. In the Father's house, where the reception came first. And the honest naming is possible because you are already received. Rest in the welcome tonight. Whatever needs to be named can be named tomorrow. In the safety of the Father's house. Tonight, just rest. In the reception that came before the speech. Sleep. Let me tell you about the ring. The signet ring that the Father put on the returning son's hand. In the ancient world, a signet ring was more than jewelry. It was the family seal. Documents pressed in wax with a signet ring carried the authority of whoever's ring it was. To give someone your ring was to give them something of your authority. To put a ring on your son's hand was to say, "This person acts with my backing. This person has the weight of this household behind them." The son who had come from the pigsty, who had wasted his inheritance, who had dishonored his father by asking for the inheritance before his father's death. That son received the ring. Not a ring. The ring. The family ring. The authority ring. The "you act with my backing" ring. Before he had proven himself, before he had demonstrated that he was trustworthy again, before anyone could reasonably argue that he had earned it. The ring. This is one of the most stunning details in the whole parable, because the ring was a risk. What if the son took the ring and went back to the far country? What if the authority it represented was misused again? What if the trust it communicated was not warranted? The father put it on his hand anyway, because the reception was not based on reasonable risk assessment. It was based on love. And love, in this parable, takes the risk. The father loved his son enough to take the risk of the ring. To say, "I trust you," not because you've proven it, because you're my son. Tonight, the ring is on your hand, not because you've proven yourself worthy of it, because you are the beloved child, because the Father takes the risk of loving you before the proof, before the track record, before the demonstrated change. The ring. You carry the Father's authority. You act with the Father's backing. You are his son, his daughter, regardless of the far country, regardless of the road, regardless of what the pigsty left on you. The ring is on your hand. Sleep with that tonight. The ring, the belonging, the backing. You are the Father's child, and that is not taken away. Sleep, the music and the dancing. I want to return to this one more time, because it says something about the nature of the celebration that is easy to miss. When the older son asked the servant what was happening, and the servant explained, "Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf, because he has received him back safe and sound." The celebration was already in progress. The older son was still outside. The father had not waited for the whole family to be assembled before beginning the party. He had not said, "We will celebrate when everyone is here." when everyone is on board, when the older son has been informed and has had time to process and has agreed that the celebration is warranted, he had started celebrating, because the celebration was not for everyone else. It was for the returning son, and the returning son needed to come home to music, not to careful deliberation about whether the music was appropriate. Music. God's celebrations don't wait for consensus. They don't wait for everyone to agree that the returning one deserves the party. They begin when the lost one is found, when the dead one is alive, when the face appears on the horizon and the gut-level compassion hits and the running begins. The music starts, and everyone else is invited into what is already happening. Tonight, the music has started. For you. Not when everyone agrees you deserve it. Not when you've proven you've changed. Not when the road is finished and the speech is given and the reception has been ratified. Now, the music is playing for you because you turn toward home, because the Father saw you, because the running has begun. The music is playing. Let it reach you in this room, in this dark, the celebration of the Father for you, for the fact of your being here, for the fact of your being alive, for the fact that what was lost is being found. The music, let it carry you into sleep, into the rest, into the morning that is coming. Good night. One more time through the story, very slowly now, for the final drift. A man, 2 sons. The younger one, give me what is mine. The leaving, the far country, the reckless living, the famine, the pigs, the no one gave him anything, the coming to himself. I will arise and go, the arising, the road, the long road, one step and the next, still a great way off. The Father, watching, seeing, compassion, running, falling, kissing, the speech beginning, Father, I have sinned. The interruption, bring the robe, bring the ring, bring the shoes, kill the fattened calf. Let us celebrate. He was dead. He is alive. He was lost. He is found. The music, the dancing, the older son outside, the father going out. Son, you are always with me. All that is mine is yours. Come in. The table, the celebration, the best robe, the ring, the shoes, the music, and home. You are home. The Father is here. The music is playing. The robe is on. The ring is on your hand. The table is set. And the door is open. And you are home. Sleep now. Deeply. Peacefully. In the Father's house. Where you have always belonged. Where you were always known, where the best robe was always kept for you, where the road was always watched, where the running was always ready. You are home. Good night, dear friend. Good night. He was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. You are home. Sleep. Good night. The road at night. The prodigal son may have walked part of his journey home in the dark. Most long journeys pass their nights. The traveler who has been walking all day lies down somewhere by the road, under a tree, near a well, wherever shelter can be found, and tries to sleep before the next day's walking. And in those nights on the road, the thoughts would have come. The kind that come at night, that daylight keeps at a manageable distance, but darkness lets through. What if the door is locked? What if the Father's face is hard when he sees me? What if I have asked too much? Taken too much? Gone too far to come back from? The speech running again in the dark. Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants, practiced and repracticed in the dark, because shame does its worst work at night, when there is nothing to distract from it, when the road stretches in both directions and you are somewhere in the middle and you can't see the destination from here. That is the night on the road. And if you are in that night tonight, if the familiar thoughts are back, the ones that circle, the ones that rehearse the worst case version of things, hear this. The Father is awake. While you lie in whatever version of the road you are on tonight, the Father is already up, already watching. Not because you have earned his watchfulness, not because you have proven you deserve to be watched for, because you are his, and he doesn't sleep when his son is on the road. He is watching, and the shape of you on the horizon, however far away, however small, however covered in the evidence of wherever you've been, he recognizes it. He always recognizes it. And the running has already begun in his heart. Before you arrive, before you see him, the running has begun. Rest on the road tonight. The night on the road is part of the journey. You don't have to have arrived to be received in spirit. You don't have to be at the door for the Father to be watching. He sees you, even on the road, even in the dark, even in the middle of the night when the shame is loudest. He sees you, and he is running. Sleep on the road. The morning will continue the journey, and the Father is already up, already watching, already running. Good night. 3 parables. Luke 15 contains 3 parables in a row: the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the prodigal son. Jesus tells them all together in response to the same occasion, the Pharisees grumbling that he was receiving sinners and eating with them. The lost sheep: a man leaves 99 sheep to find the one that is lost. When he finds it, he calls his friends and neighbors together. Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep that was lost. The lost coin: a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. She lights a lamp and sweeps the whole house and searches carefully until she finds it. And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together. Rejoice with me, for I have found the coin that I had lost. The prodigal son: a father runs to his returning son. He calls for the best robe and the ring and the shoes and the fattened calf and the music and the dancing. He was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. 3 different lost things. A sheep which wanders without knowing it's lost. It doesn't choose to be lost. It simply drifts the way sheep do, following what is immediately in front of it, and looks up to find the flock gone. A coin which is lost through no fault of its own. It didn't wander anywhere. It was dropped. It ended up in the corner not because of anything it did, but because of what happened to it. A son who chose to leave, who walked away deliberately, who squandered what was given. 3 kinds of lost. 3 searches. 3 celebrations when what was lost was found. The sheep that wandered accidentally. The coin that was lost through circumstances outside its control. The son who chose wrong and came back. All 3 worth the searching. All 3 worth the celebration. all three found. Which kind of lost are you? Maybe all three at different times. Maybe in different areas of your life at the same moment. The sheep lost in some things, drifted without realizing. The coin lost in others, placed somewhere difficult by circumstances you didn't choose. The sun lost in others still, chose wrong and are on the road back. All three kinds of lost equally sought, equally celebrated when found. The searching doesn't distinguish between the kinds of lost. The celebration doesn't rank them by blame. Lost is lost, and found is found, and the celebration is the same. Whatever kind of lost you are being sought, and the finding, whenever it comes, however it comes, will be celebrated with the same music, the same dancing, the same fattened calf, the same joy that fills the Father's gut and makes him run. You are worth the searching, all of you, however you got lost. Sleep in that tonight. You are being sought, and the finding is coming, and the celebration is real. Good night. The Father's house at night. After the celebration, after the music and the dancing and the fattened calf, after the speeches and the reunions and the joy that needed to make noise, the quiet that comes after, the household settling into sleep, and the Son in the Father's house, in a real bed, not the pigsty, not the road, not the cheap accommodation of the far country, in the Father's house, lying in the dark. Maybe he lay awake for a little while. Maybe the celebration was still running through him. Maybe gratitude and disbelief were keeping him company, the specific, wide-eyed quality of someone who received more than they expected and is still absorbing it. The robe, the ring, the shoes, the fattened calf, the music, the dancing, the Father's face, not hard, not measured, not waiting to see if he deserved it, open, running, falling on his neck, kissing him. Maybe he lay there in the dark and let it wash over him. Or maybe he slept immediately, the sleep of someone who has been on the road for a long time and has finally arrived somewhere safe. The particular depth of sleep that comes when the body finally believes it is home. When the vigilance that the road required can be released. When there is nothing to watch for, nothing to prepare for, no speech to rehearse, no reception to anticipate, simply home, and sleep. The deep, held, unguarded sleep of the received. Tonight, this is available to you. The sleep of the received, not the sleep of someone still on the road. The sleep of someone who has come home, who is wearing the best robe, who has the ring on their hand, who has sat at the table, who has heard the music, who is in the Father's house. Sleep like the prodigal son slept on his first night home. Deeply, without the rehearsed speech, without the shame vigilance, without the uncertainty of the reception. That is resolved. You are home. Sleep all the way into the deep, into the genuine, rebuilding, restoring rest. The rest of the received, the rest of the beloved child, the rest of someone who is home. Good night. The music has faded. The house is quiet. The Father is near. And you are home. Good night, dear friend. Good night. He was lost and is found. Sleep. Good night. Let me stay a little longer with the Father's character, because the parable is really about him more than anyone else. We call it the Prodigal Son, but it could just as accurately be called the running Father, the compassionate Father, the Father who was watching the road. He is the constant in the story. The son went to the far country. The son came back. The older son stayed and worked and grew resentful. All of that movement happened around a fixed point. The father, who stayed, who watched, who prepared, who ran when the moment came, who went out to the older son when he wouldn't come in, who was present to both sons, the one who left and the one who stayed, with the same quality of love. Different expressions of it, because different situations called for different things, but the same source, the same steadiness, the same being there. This is one of the things about God that is hardest to believe when you are in the middle of your own far country, or on your own road, or standing outside the celebration with your arms crossed. He is the one who stayed while you moved, while you left or drifted or grew resentful or lost yourself in the work. He stayed. He watched the road. He prepared the robe and the ring and the fattened calf. He was there when you turned around, and the distance between then, when you left, and now, wherever you are tonight, that whole distance was covered by his watching. He never stopped watching. The road was always being watched. Yours is being watched tonight. From whatever distance you are at, He sees you, and the compassion, the gut level, running, urgent compassion is real. And the welcome is real, and the robe is ready, and the table is set. He stayed. He is still here. Sleep in that. The Father stayed, and He is here tonight, in this room, watching, ready to run. Good night. Before the final silence, something worth receiving. The parable ends, really, with 3 things unsaid. We don't know if the older son went in. We don't know what the prodigal son's life looked like after the homecoming. Whether he stayed, whether he worked faithfully, whether the change was real and lasting. We don't know how the father spent the days that followed, whether there were difficult conversations, re-establishing of trust, the ordinary work of a relationship that had been fractured and was healing. The parable leaves all of this open, because the parable is not about what comes after. It is about the moment of return, the moment of reception, the running and the falling and the kissing and the robe and the ring and the music. That moment. Jesus tells this story and stops at the celebration because the celebration is the point. Not what you do with it afterward. Not whether you deserve it. Not what the probationary period looks like. Not whether the trust is rebuilt and at what pace. The moment. The return. The running. The received. That is the whole message. And tonight, in this room, in this dark, in this quiet, that moment is available. The moment of being received, of being seen on the horizon and having the Father run, of having the speech interrupted by the robe, of having the ring placed on your hand before you've explained yourself, of hearing the music that started when you turned toward home. That moment, right now, in this breath, the Father is running. The robe is in His hands. The music has started, and you are received right now, without conditions, without the speech being finished, without the proof of change, simply received, because you turned, because He sees you, because the gut-level compassion is real, and He runs. Receive it tonight. Simply receive it, without arguing, without deciding you don't deserve it, without insisting on the servant status. Receive it. The robe, the ring, the welcome, the music, the table, the Father's house. Home. You are home. Sleep in that. Deeply, peacefully, all the way into the rest of the received, the rest of the beloved child, the rest of someone who is in the Father's house, where the music has played, and the robe is on, and the ring is on your hand, and tomorrow is already being prepared by the same Father who prepared the fattened calf, who keeps the best robe, who watches the road, who runs. Good night. You are home. Sleep. Good night, dear friend. Good night. He was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. You are home. Good night. The morning after, when the prodigal son woke up on his first morning in the Father's house, the real morning after the celebration had settled and the house had grown quiet, what was the first thing he felt? Maybe surprise that he was here, that it was real, that the robe was actually there. Not a road dream, not the desperate hoping of someone walking towards something uncertain. Actually there, on him, in the Father's house. Maybe relief, the specific physical relief of having arrived, of not being on the road anymore, of not rehearsing the speech, of not wondering about the reception, of knowing in a way that the night's sleep had settled more deeply into him that he was home. Maybe something that needed more time to name. The complex thing that happens when you've been received more generously than you expected and you don't quite know what to do with it yet. The thing that isn't quite gratitude and isn't quite disbelief and isn't quite joy, but is some combination of all three, living in the chest and in the throat and in the eyes. Whatever it was, he woke to the Father's house, and the sun was coming through whatever windows were there, and the smell of the place, his Father's house, his home, was real, and the day was new, and he was in it. Your morning is coming like that. The morning after this night, after the story that has moved through you, after the reception that has been offered, after the robe and the ring and the music and the welcome, your morning is coming, and you will wake to it, rested, more rested than you were when you lay down, because sleep has been doing its patient, faithful all-night work, rebuilding what the day took down, restoring what needed restoring, returning you to yourself, to the self the Father sees when He looks at you, the beloved child, the one worth running for, the one the best robe was kept for. You will wake to that morning, and the day will be new, and the Father will be there, and you will be home. But that's morning. This is now, and now only asks one thing: sleep, so that you can wake to the morning that is already being prepared, already good, already yours. Good night. The Father is watching. The robe is on. The ring is on your hand. The music was real, and you are home. Sleep now, all the way, into the deep, into the genuine, restoring, rebuilding rest of someone who has arrived somewhere safe. Good night. Good night. You are home. Sleep. The breath. Come back to it. In this room. In this dark. In this moment. The breath that has been with you through the whole story tonight. Through the far country and the road and the running and the robe and the music. Through all of it, the breath was here, doing what it always does, faithfully, without your management, in and out. Let it be the only thing right now. Not the story, not the theology, not the application. Just this, the breath, in, out, the slow rising of the chest, the slow falling, in, out. The body doing what it has always done, without being asked, without being supervised, without needing your help, simply breathing. This is the oldest faithfulness, the body's faithfulness to itself. And tonight, alongside that faithfulness, beneath it, through it, another faithfulness. The Father's faithfulness, the watching, the preparing, the running when the moment came, the robe that was kept ready, the ring, the shoes, the table, the music, all of it, expressions of a faithfulness that has been operating since before you were born and will continue operating long after tonight. The Father is faithful. Your breath is faithful. And tonight, in this room, in this dark, in this held and quiet moment, both of those faithfulnesses are present, working without your supervision, simply here. Let them be here. Let the breath do what it does. Let the Father do what He does. And let yourself do what sleep is asking of you. Rest. Simply, completely, all the way down into the deep. Good night. You are in the Father's house, not metaphorically, not as a goal you are working toward. Right now, in this room, in this night, the Father's house is not a building in a parable. The Father's house is wherever the Father is, and the Father is here. So this room, this bed, this quiet, this dark, this breath, this is the Father's house. And in the Father's house, you are received, you are covered, you are known, you belong. The best robe is on. The ring is on your hand. The shoes say you are a son, a daughter, not a servant. The table is set. The music has played. And you are home. Home. The simplest word. The heaviest word. The word that carries more human longing than almost any other. Home. You are there. Right now. You don't have to travel toward it. You are in it. The Father is here. And where the Father is, that is home. Sleep in it tonight, all the way, into the deep, genuine, restoring rest of someone who is home, who has been received, who is wearing the best robe, who is beloved, who is known, who is home. Good night. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully. In the Father's house, where the door is always open, where the road is always watched, where the running is always ready, where you are always seen from a great way off, and always received before the speech is finished, before the proof is offered, before anything, simply received, because you are His, and He is yours, and this is home. Good night, dear friend. Good night. He was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. You are home. Sleep. Good night.